A pair of super shoes by New Balance. New Balance Fuel Cell Acid Elite 4. A shoes has been redesigned from upper until the bottom of the shoes. Let's have a look on the shoes. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about my first impression on this New Balance Fuel Cell Acid Elite 4, a super shoes by New Balance and has been redesigned. This is the version 4 and has been totally redesigned from the upper all the way to the bottom. Before we start, disclaimer, this shoes is purchased by my own money, 999 ringgit. So all the opinion that you watch on this video is my own opinion. There's a timeline below. Feel free to move around on which chapter that you want to watch. I'm going to break down the shoes, the upper, the midsole and the bottom of the shoes, how the shoes look like and how the shoes feel like and what I like and dislike about this pair of shoes. So let's start with some specification of the shoes itself. For the heel, the stack height is 40mm. That is just on the par of the regulations, and the forefoot here is 36mm. Make the shoes 4mm drop. For my size US 11, the shoes weigh at 270 grams, a bit on the heavier side for a super shoes. On the upper, using a brand new upper, the Phantom Fit upper is quite ventilated upper. For the midsole is using the same fuel cell foam, but this fuel cell foam feel a bit different from the version 3. The foam feel much more responsive and much more hard, not as soft as the version 3. It has a full length carbon fiber plate inside the shoes, and you have the almost full grip of the rubber on the bottom of the shoes. For the fitting, it just only fit true to size, that only one size, there is no wide fit option, because I feel a bit tight over here when I wear a thicker socks. But I'm using a same size as the version 3, that is the US 11. For the cushion, definitely well cushioned. 40mm of the fuel cell foam, the responsive and very soft foam on the shoes. The shoes are quite rigid because there is a energy arch that is carbon fiber plate in the shoes. Let's start with the upper overview. For the upper, they're using a Phantom Fit, a brand new upper for this pair of shoes. It seems like a so-called like some kind like nylon type of upper, but it's very breathable. I did try run under the water. You can see some dirt mark over here, and the shoes perform quite well. The water can come in and go out, and I did try run on hot weather. It really cooled down my feet. So the upper are not really that stretchable because I feel a bit tight at this area when I wear a thicker socks. So when we're going backwards, there is a one support over here. You can see the orange color. This support of the lace is more like support on the arch over here for the lacing. The brand new lacing system, they get rid of the version 3 type of lacing that it just easily came loose. For this lacing, it's not really easy to come off and very secure. For me, the lace feel like a bit not too long but just nice. For the tongue, for me is very ventilated. You can see the hole, but one thing I'm not really like about the tongue cap here is a bit too short. If you notice here, I'm using the runner knot because I'm having some issue heel slippage, so that's why I have to use the runner knot, even though I feel a bit tight over here. Moving backwards, you can see the padding is not that much, just a very little type of padding on the back of the shoes. There's a heel collar here to keep the stability and rigid of the shoes itself. Moving down to the midsole area, that is the foam area. The foam, they're using the fuel cell foam and sandwich together a carbon fiber plate in the between that we can see on the bottom. It written as a energy arch, so we can touch the plate itself, and the foam are much more hard compared to the version 3, but the response of the foam are much more compared to version 3, because the version 3, when I step on it, I feel a bit collapsed, especially when I land on the heel. I did try land on the heel, and the shoes are pretty stable. The foam are really have a lot of energy return and giving back when I try to squeeze it down, and the shoes are just pop it off when I go for my next stride. So the design of the shoes on the foam are quite triangle. I think this is the new trend. I can see on the Adidas, Nike, all the shoes have all this kind of triangular design around the foam area. So the shoes are not really that wide on here. It seems like a bit wide, but not really that wide. But there is just enough of protection and stability for the forefoot landing. So for the plate, it's sandwiched between the two foam. You can see the separation of the two foam. There's the line. That is where the plate located. If you want to see the plate, you just turn to the bottom of the shoes. You can see the energy arch. But for the plate, it's not designed a straight plate like most of the shoes. For the plate, it have some wave over here. If you can see it or you can touch it at the store, you can feel the foam, the plate design are different from others. Moving to the outsole area, you can see the outsole has been redesigned compared to the version 3. More rubber on the front and more rubber on the back. There's no more exposed carbon fiber plate, and there's a rubber on top. There's no more on this fourth version. So the rubber coverage from the front all the way to the middle of the shoes, and the grip are pretty amazing. I did try to bring the shoes out run during the rain time. The grip at the shoes are pretty good, and the stopping are really there. So when we're moving back, you can see the exposed energy arch at here. So there's some wave type of energy arch at the back of the plate. You can see when we're moving backwards, there's much more bigger rubber to protect the heel of the shoes. If you're landing on the heel, there's much more rubber to protect the foam itself. For version 4, there's less foam exposed to the weather, and you can see the rubber are actually protected out from the foam itself. So it's protecting the foam itself rather than like the version 3. The foam and the rubber is a same level, and the foam are much more easy to damage by the floor itself, by the earth, by the ground when we land on it. For this, I think it can last much more longer compared to the version 3 itself. Let's start with what I like about the shoes. The first thing I like is the upper itself, is the phantom fit upper. It's very well structured compared to the version 3 itself, because the version 3 is more like a piece of cloth of there. So a bit running for this is much more structured and much more hold my feet together, even though I having some tight spot at this area. So but the structure of the upper and the ventilation of the upper are pretty good. The second line is the much more durable outsole. The outsole has been redesigned compared to the version 3 with less foam exposed to the earth when we're running, so the longevity of the shoes will be extended. Next is the shoes feel faster than the version 3 itself. Maybe because of the new foam and the new carbon fiber plate redesign, the shoes feel much more faster than the version 3, much more responsive from the version 3. The fourth one is the lacing system. They finally get rid of the string type of lacing system that without the runner knob. For this one, they even including the runner knot for this one. The lacing is much more secure and much more easy to tie up for this pair of shoes. Let's talk about the dislike of the shoes. The first one is the upper. Yes, I like the upper, and I also dislike the upper because of the heel slippage. I am facing the heel slippage on this pair of shoes, even though I try on the 10km base run and a 5km tempo run. I still facing some heel slippage issue, even though I'm using the runner knot, and also the forefoot area here, the midfoot area here, a bit tight compared to the version 3. So I have to change to a thinner socks when I'm using this pair of shoes. Second dislike is the tongue. The tongue, if you can see it here, a bit too short. When I'm using the runner knot, when I tie it, the lace actually are tying at my feet itself. not add the tongue to protect because of the tongue are slightly too short, and this is the maximum of the tongue. When I tie it, it's straight go to the feet. The last dislike is the weight itself. 270 grams, a super shoes that gains some weight when having a update. Hopefully it can reduce back on the next version. How I use the shoes? I use these shoes for two different runs. The first run is 10 km base run, the pace is around 5:30, and the second run is a tempo 5 km and the pace is around 4:30 to 4:20. For the base run, on my first run, I found out that I'm having some heel slippage. Straight directly out from the box, I bring the shoes out for a run. Within 200 meters, I have to stop and release it and put in the runner knot because I'm facing the heel slippage on the shoes. After down into the run, and I found another encounter is the lace itself. Actually, the lace, because of the short tongue, it just tied directly to the sock itself. On the first run, it's more like breaking in. I have to change the socks. I wear a bit thicker sock, and I feel some hot spot over here because of the a bit tight and not really stretchable after. So I have to went back home and change to a much more thinner socks. Luckily, I just run in front of my house, so there's no more hot spot after I change the socks. Just only the heel slippage issue. For the response of the shoes, it's pretty good. When I try to land on the forefoot and the heel, it gives me a different feeling. On the heel, the shoes doesn't feel like the version 3. The shoes don't feel like won't collapse. It's much more stable compared to the version 3. When I try to land on the forefoot here, the shoes will be straight pop off going to the next step. It's much more responsive. I did try different type of pacing during my base run. I go to the 7-minute and 8-minute pace. When I try to run slower with these shoes, for carbon plated shoes, it's not really that enjoyable because the shoes are too steep for going slower and the foam are not really that soft. So it's not really enjoyable when you're running slow using these shoes. When you pick up to the 5:30 pace, the shoes starting to came alive and much more easy to pick up pace and much more easy to control, especially going through the corner itself. On my second run is a 5 km tempo, and that is a rainy day. So I bring the shoes out for a 5 km tempo run, and the shoes able to perform what it should be performed. The grip is awesome. The feedback on the shoes is quite awesome. The responsive, the form, the carbon fiber plate, and the grip under the rain is really good. I did try run on the patch of water, and the street itself, the tarmac, the grip are pretty awesome, and the shoes are dry pretty fast because a brand new Phantom Fit upper. The water came in and just go out, and just a bit water are mingling around here and on the some of the foam on the back of the shoes. Other than that, I have no complaint on the upper itself, and the grip and the foam, the response are pretty good, especially when you go down to the 430 and 420. It's really built for speed. So what's my verdict on this New Balance Fuel Cell SC Elite 4? Definitely is a great update from the version 3 itself. Much more responsive, much more faster, and much more breathable. Even though it's gained a bit of weight and having some issue at the front and the back over here, other than that, I didn't found any much issue. For this pair of shoes, it's really built for speed. Definitely you can use on race day because this is the purpose of the shoes. Besides race day, definitely you can use on your speed work or your speed day, the tempo workout or interval workout. You still can use this pair of shoes because I try to go fast on the corner. The shoes are pretty stable on the high speed. Who should buy this pair of shoes? If you are a runner that looking for a racer, a carbon plated shoes with a cushion, soft cushion, definitely you can try and think about this New Balance Fuel Cell Elite 4 because it's much more less aggressive, much more easy on our leg. Who should not buy these shoes? If you're looking for a much more aggressive, much more hard form, this is not a pair of shoes for you because it's much more heavier and less aggressive to other pair of racer out there. In summary, New Balance Fuel Cell SC Elite 4 is a pair of good shoes. I will still keep on trying on this pair of shoes, see whether it will fit me or not because of the heel slippage issue. I will still try on it. If you want to get it, you can visit to their store, or you can visit to their website and purchase this pair of shoes. So that's all for my first impression review on this New Balance FuelCell SC Elite 4. That's all, and see you guys on the next video. Bye!